You asked, we listened. Our first foray into Bluetooth speaker reviews. First up is the Cleer Scene. Goedendag, we're DHRME. Dudes have remarkably musical ears.
The Cleer Scene definitely caught our attention for its looks. The heft and weight in the hand makes it feel like it can last.
That's what she's...
Okay, looking at it closer, you notice the woven pattern all across the top and part of the bottom of the speaker. Looks and feels premium. To top it off, you also get brushed steel diaphragms on the side, and let's check. I think they're plastic, I don't know. But the LED below the logo on the front of the speaker is a nice touch, indicating the battery status. That's the LED. Now, overall, this is a good looking speaker to place at your desk, in the living room, or even in your kitchen. Or heck, take it out to the pool because it's rated IPX7.
The Cleer Scene has a couple of buttons on the top and at the back. The ones at the back are for power and pairing. The ones on top allow you to play, pause, track control, and a mic button for muting calls. More on calls in a bit. The buttons are big, clicky, and easy to use. Every button works immediately after a single press, except if you want to power it off, you'll need to hold down the power button then. But if there's anything that we would have changed, it would be having all the buttons in hand's reach, instead of having to give the power and pairing buttons a reach around. And that's something you'll be doing a lot. However, after a couple of days, we found that our fingers knew the way to turn on the scene. But would you make a lot of phone calls using the Cleer Scene? Maybe. Here, have a listen for yourself.
Alright guys, we're going to do some phone call quality tests. So what you're hearing now is my voice through the mic of the Cleer Scene. But I'm actually at a very close distance. Okay, let me get right up to the mic. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Bit quieter. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. That's a meter. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Now I'll go as far back as I can. Let's see how far that is. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. And these tests were all in pretty quiet conditions, so you're not going to hear too much background noise, etc., as we would use them when we're at home or in a quiet office. I'm not sure you want to use this when it's very noisy or windy outside. Back to the video.
Now, they're not unusable by any means, but you'll be keeping those phone calls relatively short. The voice of the speaker sounds like it is coming from afar, and any noise around the speaker or even touching the speaker creates a lot of disturbance for the other person on the call. And depending on the room you're in, and if you turn up the volume, then we've noticed an echo, even though echo and noise cancellation is advertised as a feature. However, the fuckman will be satisfied with the Cleer Scene because you can answer, hang up, change volume, and mute straight from the speaker itself.
Let's move to the juice department. It's looking good here, guys. 12 hours in a single charge, and I've been using this bad boy for about that long, and you see there's that much of battery left, so not bad at all. It's a USB Type-C port hidden behind the flap on the back. What you'll also find next to the Type-C charging port is an auxiliary input for anyone who wants to use the speaker wired. If you plan to use it wireless, then do note that the Scene is a monogamous device, so you'll need to feel and touch that pairing button on the back. Yeah, baby. And unfortunately, you cannot pull a connection from a previously paired device either. Finally, there is also no app, so what you see is what you get. But do we miss it, especially for EQ customization? Well, let's first talk about the sound quality. Firstly, the Cleer Scene can get loud, very loud, so it's more than sufficient for indoor use. If we had to categorize the sound signature, it would be more of a clear, crisp sound than a bass-boosted party sound. The mid-range and treble are the stars of the show. The sub-bass is present, but it's not so forward in the mix, and maybe the driver size limitation has something to do with that, but we did think that it worked just fine for rock or metal music. And due to its clearer sound, it works extremely well at lower volumes too. But beware of very busy music, as the sound can tend to sound a bit crowded. The mids presentation is also excellent, but remember that the placement of the speaker, of course, will affect the resonance of the bass. We did notice some distortion at close to max volumes and can get slightly sibilant, especially with the S's. Here are a couple of samples so you can get an idea.
back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause I was being next to you. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause all I needed was my friend. Way back when, way back when, way back when.
But overall, we enjoyed the sound signature of the Cleer Scene, and EQ would have been welcome, but it's not a deal breaker in our opinion.
Okay, before we wrap this up, we need to talk about two things. First, the Cleer Scene hasn't created much of a scene on the market. It's hard to find in a lot of countries, so if you're looking for one, we hope it's available in your country. Link in the description. Second, the price. It retails for around $120, and we think it's reasonably priced. Okay, it's no smart speaker and the calls are subpar, but the design, build, and sound quality are very good. You've cleared the review of the scene, and we've been DHRME. Namaste.